Hey, it's Aang! And today I'm gonna be telling you guys that I finally watched To Your Eternity, but I watched it like a year ago.
Oh my god, I didn't think it would be this sad.
I filmed my reaction, but I never made a video, so here we are.
Why is it so sad?
Yay! Womp 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 womp. Womp womp womp. If you haven't seen To Your Eternity, it's basically a anime that is sad. To Your Eternity is about an orb that was casted to Earth and has the ability to change into different forms. The orb takes on different forms to travel the world and experience humanity while training to save humanity. That's kind of a scuffed description that I wrote, but literally I went into this anime not knowing anything other than the person that recommended this to me was like, I just want to see you watch the first episode because it's gonna destroy you. Okay, I gotta watch it now. From now on, it's gonna be spoilers. I guess we're gonna talk about the characters that the orb kind of encounters and like learns from, and then later on takes their body as his ability. I guess the first interaction that the orb has is with the nameless boy. It's basically about like what isolation can do to a person. I guess the moral of the story is this boy would rather die trying than like die kind of wondering what if. They lived in the middle of Antarctica. There's like no vegetation, nothing there, and his family and neighbors decided to look for a better place to live because there's nothing there. You know what I mean? All they can eat is fish. This boy was left alone in his village with a bunch of elderly people for years, and they never came back. So the boy was like, bruh, they probably made it to the destination. It was probably such an amazing place, like they don't even want to come back. That's why they're taking so long. Or he also has like the same like feeling like, oh, they're gonna come back one day, right?
I'm already sad!
But it's been so long that the elderly actually ended up dying off, so he ended up being alone. And the way the orb found this boy was when he was casted onto Earth, he turned to a rock, and then a wolf dog fell and died on him. And then he was able to transform into the wolf. And the wolf dog was actually owned by that boy. And I guess maybe through instinct, he ended up walking and finding the village where the boy lived.
I have a feeling it's gonna take the body of the boy at the end.
Because the boy found the wolf dog, he had courage to go on his own journey with the dog to find the promised land that his family set on foot towards. It was such a crazy journey because of the weather, the coldness, the lack of food.
You can achieve your dreams. It's okay. It's a hard. Oh my god! It's a hard journey. You can do it.
He was following the little markings that his family have left behind. And then he ended up finding the end of their markings, but it was a dead end. And he found a broken carriage and a lot of graves. It kind of tells you they didn't make it.
Oh, it's an arrow, but there's a cross on it.
Something might have happened and they all ended up dying. So that's why they didn't come home. The boy was just so brokenhearted because he was so positive throughout the last couple of years that he was alone. Like, they made it to the promised land, the place where there is people I can talk to, sunny and warm. They never made it. The boy ended up deciding to go home because he also got injured during the journey. He fell through ice, hurt his leg, and got infected. Unfortunately, the infection got too bad and he was not able to make it. And it was so sad because it's like, I guess in traditional anime, the story is usually like really uplifting. It's like, yeah, you can follow your dreams. You can do anything you want. I want to be Hokage. I want to be the king of pirates. Believe it. Datebayo. Sometimes in life, it's not always like that. His story was really about, I'd rather die trying than not have tried at all.
So this is a dream. They're pointing.
Throughout the episode, you kind of root for this kid to be like, yeah, you're gonna achieve your dreams. Of course you are, right? But then it just doesn't happen. And then you're just like, damn, this is the type of show this is. So then the boy dies, and then it gave stimulation, obviously, to the orb, and then he transformed into the boy, and he was able to take on his form. And it was so sad. His last words was like, don't forget about me.
Remember me?
And it's so sad. I don't want to cry again. And I'm gonna cry again. It kind of reminds me of this One Piece arc with Chopper and Hero Luke. The only way a man dies is if he's forgotten. So the next character that the orb kind of encounters is March.
She's around.
Her story is basically about how your life isn't something given to you. It's for you to win for yourself. In the story, March is basically supposed to be sacrificed to save the people of Ninana when the whole tradition is phony. And even though March has the dream of becoming a mother, it was taken away from her, basically. I'm not going to retell the whole story about March, but it's another story of the young person who has a dream of just, you know, simply just being an adult one day. And I think that's like something so simple that you can ask for, and it was taken away from her due to corruption.
This is the second episode. The ones that are like gonna die is always the people that have so much hope to keep going.
Throughout the story, I think I really loved March because I think March was really brave. Even though she was able to escape, she chose not to, because if it's not her, then it would be someone else, like her sister or someone from the village. And she also had her sister or sissy, Panora, who honestly, I loved Panora. I think she's like my favorite character in the whole show.
Really pretty. She reminds me of Shitan from Vampire Princess.
But I think she was MVP. She obviously cared so much for March. Panora also experienced this whole sacrifice thing in the past with like her older sister being also chosen to be sacrificed. And I think she was like the only one who was brave enough to do something about it, because at the end of the whole arc, when Panora goes back to the village and reveals that March actually died in battle and this whole thing is kind of phony, her parents were even like, it should have been us. We should have like fought for her.
They're like, whoa, she's on the freaking bear, man.
Panora was just like also so freaking smart. She literally got them to escape, and she was going to prove to the villagers Oniguma's dead by showing them the head of the bear, showing them that we don't need to do this anymore because the god that we're afraid of is no longer here. March is like, yo, but that isn't true though, because this whole thing as a whole is phony. The Yanome people made up this tradition so they keep power over Ninana, saying, hey, we're gonna help you protect your village, so just like comply with us. But the whole thing was phony. During the whole thing, I was like, bro, just let Panora take it. Like, the bear is dead. Do you want your sister to be next, huh?
Girl, just let her be, man. She needs to do this.
You know, at the end of the day, March was right, because why are we gonna use this dead bear's corpse even more when in the first place, like, its life was taken for no reason? Just like how March's life was supposed to be taken as well. March's story was so sad, and I loved it so much. All the way to the ending, I really didn't think that March was gonna die. I thought Panora was during that whole altercation at the end with the wagon, but then March was like, I will save you. Ooh. And then like took the shot for Panora, and I'm like, no, why, child?
Don't you dare kill her. I'll freaking...
I feel like even though this is like the second death, their little heaven visuals with the nameless boy as well as March always freaking gets me, because they only ask for simple things. The boy asked for, I just want warmth. I just want people to talk to. I just want food. Like, they're just very simple things. And then March is just like, I just want to grow up. That's all I want to do. Just grow up and have my own family. And she couldn't even do that because it was taken from her by freaking how you say you don't want to fight her.
She grew up and she had her kids.
Because like this is literally the second time this type of thing happened to her, and she's just like, this world is too much for me. Like, I can't keep doing this anymore. I keep fighting and trying to change for the better, but somehow I keep losing. And then March was just like, no, please, like, don't do this. Fushi, do something. At this point, I was like crying and crying. I'm like, I mean, I get Panora's standpoint, 'cause it's just like so many innocent people have to die for corruption.
Oh, she's moving. I'm crying.
And the ending part where Panora was at the village and they were gonna shoot Hayase, and then she shot her, and then Hayase turned around and she's like, eh. Bro, I was screaming. We lost the footage, but I was screaming at that point. The guy was like, you got her. And she's like, no, I missed. And it's so sad because she was trying to get a headshot, but she missed because she's not that good at archery. So the next arc that we encounter is Gugu's arc.
If I die, become me. Don't freaking die. I will fight you.
Gugu's arc to me was kind of like, you gotta be careful what you wish for and appreciate the things that you have.
It's like, oh, how much more people? There's so much space on the right side.
Because Gugu was a poor boy who lived with his brother, and he had to work like really physically demanding jobs just to stay alive as a young kid. He always wished to live in a big mansion, and I guess like as, you know, poor boys, it's really hard to see that in your future. But later on, his brother betrayed him and Gugu was left alone. And Gugu kind of started having really bad thoughts like, what's the point? Why am I even here? Why am I I me? That's something like he kept asking himself a lot in the show. Why am I me? But then he later ended up like saving a girl. It's crushed, oh my god, from being squashed by a log, and he ended up damaging his face.
Oh.
Boozman ended up finding him and like treating him and saving his life. And Boozman ended up taking him in to work for him in exchange of living there. Gugu was like, I finally got what I wanted, but at what cost? Even though he lives comfortably, it came at a cost. And now he starts a new life. It's like a different life now. Gugu was like literally best friends with Fushi. Fushi and him were like brothers, and Gugu like taught him everything.
What are you gonna do, huh? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, right.
Hooray!
In the story, there's these things called knockers, and it's basically Fushi's arch enemy. Throughout the whole story, he's basically supposed to like get stronger to fight them off and save the world, basically. But the knockers come and they have to fight them, and Gugu's like, I will help you, brother. I will do my best. I think the reason why Fushi and Gugu got along so well was because they were basically the same, but like so different. And I think that the main thing is that they're a monster duo, quote unquote monster duo. Because of Gugu's injury, it made his face deformed, apparently horrible to look at, and it really set him aside from society. And even though he does wear a mask, it's like still just not very normal. So obviously he was bullied, he was shunned, he had a hard time finding work, people didn't want to talk to him. And for Fushi was just a boy that looked like he was in his teens but acted like a little child. And he was also just very different because obviously he's immortal. Gugu just really got along with Fushi because to him they were very similar, and I think this is the first time he really met someone that was like him. But then he also like befriends the girl that he had a crush on.
She doesn't even know that he saved her, man.
And I think he kind of gets a taste and like a look into someone living totally opposite of him in like a different world, and how, again, it's like appreciate what you have, because like even though she was really rich and well off and she had everything in the snap of her fingers, she also wasn't happy. She didn't have freedom to make mistakes and just be a normal human. She had to be perfect, and she was jealous of Gugu because Gugu was able to like just be. But then Gugu was like, but I want to be rich, man. Like, it's nice having a nice house. Their whole like dynamic was very like the grass is greener on the other side type beat. Basically, Gugu saved the girl from the log incident, and because of that, he actually ended up destroying his face. And with her, she only walked away with a mere scratch on her arm.
Bruh, that's nothing.
She kind of made a big deal about it, like it was like literally the end of the world, and how she thought someone was after her dad and attacked her, but that wasn't even the case at all, which was literally like nothing compared to what Gugu had to endure. And the reason why she was saved and only got a scratch was because he sacrificed his own face, basically. And she had no idea until like literally the last episode.
Oh shit. 4 years? Time skip?
And I was like, what is this shoujo anime?
Ah! I didn't know this was a freaking romance. Oh my god, why is this so cute?
So then the knockers came and attacked them at the party.
Oh!
And while Fushi was fighting them off, Gugu was there to help as well. And at one point during the battle, while Gugu was getting attacked, Rin helped and pushed him out of the way, which kind of made a full circle moment to when Gugu pushed Rin out of the way and saved her life.
Girl, I swear, if one of you die, I'm going to turn off this show and throw it in the garbage.
But then what happened was the building ended up collapsing on top of them. A lot of rubble was about to crush them, but then Gugu with his strength protected Rin, shielding her. But honestly, Gugu can only do so much. And while they were kind of stuck in that position, they kind of had this like little last conversation together, and it was so sad. For Rin's birthday, he gave her a little flower, and it was actually a flower that she picked 4 years ago when Gugu saved her from the log incident. But basically, she had the flower with her, but during the battle, I guess it got really crushed and wilted. And Gugu was like, oh, your flower is all messed up. We should go and get you a new one. And she was like, no, like, let's go together. Let's go and find those flowers together. And we both know a place where it grows.
I'll buy you a new one tomorrow. Yeah, you freaking better. Yeah, let's pick some together. Yeah, they both know where they grow.
But then, because of, you know, how heavy the rubble and the rocks were on top of him, he gave way and it ultimately ended up crushing him and he passed away.
Bro, it took you 4 years, man. It really took you 4 years.
She didn't even know he died until later on. And it was so sad when we got to see Gugu's heaven, because his heaven was literally everything that he already has. You know what I mean? I feel like throughout his whole life, he was like, oh, why am I me? Like, why can't I be living in this mansion? Why can't I be like rich? Right? But then when they were showing his heaven, the only thing that changed was like his face. Like his face had no injury. But everything and everyone in his heaven was like already there in his life, except for his brother. But like, I feel like over time, if he still lived, they would have like mended their relationship. His heaven was like literally the same. Like he couldn't have asked for more. And I think it contrasted a lot from the other heavens.
Seeing like their heaven is like so hard every time.
The kid wanted food and people. March wanted to grow up. But Gugu just had everything that he ever wanted. And he was just happy and content.
Every time.
And it's just a shame the show had to take that away from him. But it was sad after the whole incident.
Oh, they could still communicate. He doesn't have any regrets.
When Reen went back to the Boozman's house and looked for Gugu, but then Fushi transformed into Gugu, I was like, bro, you can't like make her think he's alive. She has to know. But in the moment, I think Fushi just kind of freaked out.
Oh shit. No, it's gonna... Bro, you're digging a deep hole for yourself right now.
Later on, they kind of revealed that Reen knew that he was dead. And it was so sad because she was like, I don't want to marry anyone because I already have someone in mind that I want to marry. And her dad's like, why? Like, I must meet this person. And she's like, well, it's someone that's no longer here.
Oh shit, she knows. She knew the whole time.
That was basically Gugu's arc. And I think Fushi, after, you know, the first 3 incidents, 3 things that he goes through, survivor's guilt at this point. He's kind of like, it should have been me and not these people. Like, everyone I interact with dies. And I'm like, bro's playing Genshin Impact. Of course. But then Fushi ends up traveling with Pioran.
Huh?
And Pioran is literally the old lady that was like since March's arc, and she was the old lady that was like hired by the Yanome to pretend she's a shaman and to choose like who's going to die today. March, you are going to be sacrificed. And I feel like when you see that scene, like you don't really notice Pioran. You're just like, yeah, she's kind of there, I guess. And then like she escapes with them later on and like ends up taking care of Fushi at Boozman's house. It's funny because like you wouldn't really think she's such a reoccurring character, but like she was the one that was there the longest.
Yeah, don't die. Oh my god.
I don't know. I didn't really like this arc. I think my only favorite thing was witnessing the development of Fushi, because I guess he becomes more of like main character in this arc, because I think the other arcs is kind of like he's still like baby, not really knowing much. He's kind of just there to like help and fight the knockers basically. And it kind of focuses on like the other characters, but like this is like his first arc that like really focused on him. Basically, Fushi ends up traveling with Pioran and then he meets Tonari.
It's Luffy.
Tonari tricks them into going into the ship that will take them into this prison island, and the only way you can escape is if you win this like battle thingy, because you become like the leader and then you can leave. So basically Pioran was like taken into jail and he was able to wander the island, but basically Tonari was just like, yeah, I like tricked you guys to come here, oopsie. But like it turned out it was freaking Hayase that told her to bring them in.
Oh!
Basically, throughout this whole show, you kind of hate Tonari. Like, you don't really like her. It's like you're supposed to, because even Fushi was just like, I hate you. Why did you bring us here? What was the point? You know what I mean?
So annoying. This girl's actually...
But I think throughout the show, you kind of like feel more sorry for her because like her dad allegedly killed her mom and was taken to the island, and he killed a lot of people so they can escape, but then he ended up dying because he got poisoned by other villagers. She has a lot of trauma. So basically, she's like a young kid that grew up on this island full of criminals, which I can imagine be really traumatizing and scary. I think her whole focus throughout her whole life is how to get out. How can we get out? How can we get out? That's all she thinks about all all the time. So the only reason why she ended up bringing Pioran and Fushi to the island was because Hayase was like, if you bring these people to the island and make him fight in the arena thingy, I assure you, you guys will be able to escape. You know, all she thinks about how to escape, how can we escape, how can we escape? She's like, I'll do it. So we kind of like, yeah, I get it. I get why she did that. Side quest era. We kind of like feel bad for her. In this arc, we meet Hayase again, and after March's arc, she turned crazy and ended up falling in love with Fushi because of his power.
Ew.
Basically, she really wants Fushi to kill her because even though it's a negative stimulation, it's still stimulation. If Hayase dies, he's a new character on his roster. She wants that. But like Fushi's just like, heck no. Stay away from me, stinky ass girl. Basically, girly comes back and like fights and then poisons Fushi, and then Huey's the one that wins the arena thing. So they can't leave. Basically. At this point, I'm like, Fushi, kill her.
No, you were supposed to win.
The writing in like this arc was like this one episode, I believe it's episode 17, was just really weird and confusing. Like he loses the battle with Hayase and then she's just like, guys, like I know I won, but like I don't really want to be a leader. This guy can be your leader. Let's have like a big army of people. He will like set you guys free. La 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 la. She also wants to use Fushi like as like a weapon of mass destruction. They like throw him in a hole. I actually don't really remember. Oh yeah. And then like she brings him to her room and then this really weird thing happens and she's all like, ah. And I'm like, that's disgusting.
Ew, what the frick? Wake up!
And then the kids rescue Fushi.
Bro, they killed the bird.
And then they end up having like a truce where it's like, okay, like you can take me, but like you gotta let these kids go. So then basically Tonari ends up being like the leader of the island and then she frees all the children. They send Fushi into a hole.
They're really putting him in a hole? What the frick?
Yeah, just that whole episode was written so weird. Like the owl died, but then he was like alive.
Yo, I thought he died. What if that's Fushi?
I don't know. I'd have beef with the episode. But anyways, episode 19 was a little bit better. Like they escape. Like Tonari comes back and just like, bro, I'm gonna save you. And then he's just like, bro, I'm immortal. Like, why did you have to come back? Like, stay on the ship, girly. I don't need your help.
Uh-oh, she's gonna save him. This is how she dies.
But she's like, I wanted to be the main character in the story though. And he's just like, no, it's me. Sorry, girl. But then the knocker dudes come back and then they're like zombies. It's basically Walking Dead, man. It's kind of crazy. So then they fight the zombie knockers and then the kids come back, like the other friends that like you don't really get to spend too much time with. The girl with the chair, the kid with the poison, and the guy that's like tall, and the other guy. Yeah. Basically the cast of Great Pretender.
Oh shit, her friends came. They're all gonna die here.
So they come back and Fushi's just like, bro, why'd you guys come back? We set you free. And you're like, we gotta help because teamwork. Tonari's like arc was basically because of like the past arcs. Like Fushi's just like, I'm gonna be a lone wolf, man. I can't talk to people because everyone's just gonna die. But then Tonari's arc is basically about like, you can rely on people. It's okay. You're not alone. But then obviously this show doesn't have any kind of character immunity. The only immunity is Hayase for some reason.
Yeah!
Like, no, let her die. I don't care about her. Yeah. So the other kids die, other than Tonari and that one other kid that I forgot what he does. Lol. And then Hayase is like, he, I'm back.
Girl. See, I told you!
And she's just like, you're not gonna kill me, but I'm gonna kill them. He. But then Fushi saves all of them. And I'm like, no, throw Hayase into the pit of fire, please. But of course he doesn't.
Kill her! Who cares, man? Throw her in the pit. Freaking evil ass girl. We all need her.
And all of a sudden, all the zombies are gone. And then their friends died. And then Tonari's just like, bro, I'm gonna stay here and like help all these people. Which, you know, honestly, good for her. Good for her though. Like these people need help. I think she just ends up being like a leader. I think the people of the island see the children die, protecting them because they're supposed to leave on the ship and they're just like, bro, these kids are innocent. They didn't even do anything. They sacrificed their lives for scum like us, right? So I think that's what they learned. And then Fushi was like, okay guys, time for me to go. You guys can run this island. Yeah.
Goodbye, kids. Even though I thought all of you were gonna die.
So he goes off on the boat, but then he takes Hayase with him.
Oh.
And I'm like, ocean dump, please. And basically he's just like, what do you want from me? And she's like, you know, I love you. And he's just like, disgusting. Like literally like,
Yeah.
Ocean dumb. Ah!
she's just like, please, just give me one night of like ocean dump right now. But then he summons a whole boat and then like leaves her in the middle of the ocean. And then she gets attacked by a knocker.
Yo!
So because I haven't watched the second season, I don't know what's gonna happen with this girl, but I'm gonna assume she's an alien now. Mutant. Ninja Turtle. And that's all with Tonari's arc. This is like really watered down version of her arc. I'm sure it was deeper than I'm explaining it, but honestly it was like kind of like my least favorite, but I kind of enjoyed it a lot because of Hayase, because I hate her so much. But you know, I'm happy for Tonari. It all worked out in the end of the day. Clap, 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 clap. So the last episode of the whole season is about Pioran, and basically, to me, Pioran's story was basically just everyone dies one day. And I think all of Fushi's like encounters with everyone was like their lives taken from them in some type of way. It's all young people, which is so sad. In Pioran's like little story, Fushi kind of learns, you know, everyone's gonna die one day and it's a normal thing. Yes, you can be sad about it, but it's just something that happens and we all have to accept it. So Pioran's story was also one of the saddest. I think I rewatched the show recently. I only teared up in Gugu's arc, but your girl cried again in Pioran's arc. It's basically just about how Fushi's just like, I don't want to like bring her on my journey anymore because I want to be with her, but like, and I know I want to be with her and like be companions, but like I don't want her to get injured because of me by the knockers, because for sure if they attack, she did. She can't fight herself. You're always like this with her stick. You know, the creator guy is just like, yo, she either gonna die with the knockers or of old age, so you can choose. What do you want to do? So in the end of the day, Fushi ends up staying with Pioran because Pioran recognized him later on and was like hugging him. He's like, Fushi, and like was so happy to see him.
Oh, she knows.
I think Fushi wasn't sure if like Pioran even wanted to be with Fushi either. He was kind of like, well, maybe she doesn't even want to be with me. Maybe like just me being there, like she has to, but like maybe she's just better off traveling alone. But then I think after that altercation, he kind of realizes she actually loves me. And then like Pioran sees him as like a whole grandson too.
Aww.
So then they end up going to the jungle together, their original plan before the freaking island, to train. But Fushi kind of learns a lot of basic survival skills from Pioran. You know, over time, Pioran ended up developing Alzheimer's, I think, or dementia.
Do you think she might be getting like Alzheimer's? Like she's starting to forget.
And she started to lose herself. And I think it was really hard on Fushi to witness this thing because he's like, I can't understand what is happening. Like, why is she acting like this, right? But it's like Pioran can't help it. Like she's starting to act like a child again, not really being herself and forgetting a lot of things, running away, thinking the Yanome people are coming after her when nothing's happening. Like she's just not herself. She needs a lot of like attention and care. And instead of like Fushi, you know, training, he ended up just taking care of Pioran, and he couldn't understand it. But like he was more than happy to. He was like, I'll do it.
Bro, I swear. Stop.
The ending part of like her like little story was like, she was like saying, thank you. I'm happy to have met you, Fushi. Thank you for being with me. And he's like, what? Why are you saying these things? And she's like, well, I think it's gonna rain. Go and get the fish and the potatoes we left out to dry. And he's like, okay. So he goes out to get the food.
Girl, you better wake up.
And then Pioran like lies down. She's just like, hey, you creator dude that always talks to Fushi. If you're really there and you really care about Fushi, I have this one request. I'm ready to be taken now, but can you please reincarnate me into something that is more useful for Fushi to use? Because she knows Fushi can transform into people that stimulated him that have died. Like, she kind of thinks, like, what can an old woman do? And I think, you know, like, I was thinking throughout the whole show, I was like, when Pioran dies, like, he's gonna have, like, a old lady. And I think that's kind of helpful in some situations. I genuinely think so. But I think Pioran just wants him to gain something more helpful. The creator guy, obviously, he cares about Fushi. And he complies, but he's just like, oh, but like what makes you you is like you in this body. But when your soul is in a different one, it's not going to be you anymore. And then she's like, brah, I'll take it, whatever. So I think he gets reincarnated. She gets reincarnated as her younger self. Again, I didn't watch the second season, but that's what I think.
A pretty girl? What the frick?
Fushi discovers her that she died and she passed away, and he, you know, burns her body later. And throughout his whole like arc with Pioran, he's been like recording stuff on like a piece of paper, like a little diary of like everything, because he doesn't want to forget. And he discovers a little letter from Pioran, and basically her story, what she wrote to Fushi on his like little journal thingy was, I'm gonna cry again.
She wrote something?
What is your dream, Fushi? Do what you want to do, like I did.
Why is it so sad?
Overall, all the people that he encountered and like passed away, they all had like their own dreams, and you know, they died early and they weren't able to like achieve it. And I think other than Gugu was like more content, but like the way Pioran died or passed away at the end was of old age. She did everything that she wanted to do. And then like I think this is like the first encounter that we have of someone like actually fulfilling like everything that they wanted to do in their life. I'm gonna cry again.
Why is this show like this?
Because Fushi is immortal and he has like a long life. She was like telling him, how about your dream? You should do what you want to do. And I think it kind of ties into March's story, where it's like your life isn't something given to you, it's for you to win for yourself. Even though everyone in this story was able to dream, and like not everyone was able to achieve their dream, Fushi was different, because when he was brought into this world, he didn't have a dream, he just had a purpose that was given to him from someone else. So then Pioran's saying, you deserve this too. And I think that was so good. And I hope he learns that too.
Several decades? And he stayed there? Bro, what the frick? What?
I also want to say like everyone in this story had like different roles towards Fushi. And I think it was interesting because I think the nameless boy was like Fushi's companion. March was like his mother. Panora was his father. Gugu was his brother. The island kids was his friends. And Pioran was his grandmother. And Hayase was his enemy. So I think it was interesting that everyone that he met had like different roles. But that was like a lot of my thoughts about the show. But I think this overall story message of this whole show was like really beautiful, and I think a lot of people can kind of learn from it. Your life is yours and you should do what you want with it, and it kind of inspires me a lot as well. But yeah, this story was so beautiful, and if you literally watch this video without watching this series, go watch it right now, please. Thank you. And cry. And if you did watch the show, leave in the comments below like what you think about the show. I hope to do season 2 if you guys enjoyed this one. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to check out my other videos. I do a lot of gaming videos, and I do a lot of other anime reviews like One Piece and other movies and stuff like that, and hopefully soon like webtoons and stuff like that. But I think that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I think that's all I wanted to say about the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.